Gauntlet.
Punching their tickets to the Global Gauntlet Finals.
Qualified for the Global Gauntlet.
They are to the finals.
Global Gauntlet.
Hello and welcome back to the Global Gauntlet REWOUND, where we're taking a look at the matches from the first Global Gauntlet that weren't featured live. And here we have a match between FTWin and Swing. Are you excited, Hammy?
I am very excited because I have heard a little bit of Swing. They're not a team that I've been following very closely, but the things I've heard about these players, I mean, they're all well-known players, except for one of their young, brand new talent they brought on the team. So I'm excited to see that. Of course, we got FTWin. Who doesn't want to watch FTWin? But yes, Swing here, our Japanese team in this matchup here, Momo, Norishio, Reimaru, and streamer Senna, is a roster to beat, to say the least.
Yeah, this is a tough group of four. Momo, extremely talented Snipe Rider player. Senna is the youngest participant at 11 years old and so good at the game. These are aggressive players, and several of these players have won the official Nintendo Gachi King's Cup Splat Zones tournament, so they are not to be trifled with.
Definitely. And again, I need to reiterate that streamer Senna, 11 years old, yet playing in Global Gauntlet, playing in this caliber of the game. I can't even perceive, I can't comprehend that. I feel myself getting older by the minute just hearing the success of some of these players in the Japanese region at such a young age.
Absolutely. We've had a lot of success as well from FTWin, who I believe are really no stranger to anybody who's followed the Western competitive Splatoon scene. Kyo has been a mainstay in competitive Splatoon. These players have been North American champions again and again and again, 7 whopping times. FTWin also pulled a little, we're going on retirement. Oh wait, just kidding, we're back.
There is no escape from competitive Splatoon. You cannot retire. You get brought back eventually. And as you said, FTWin, a team that has been the champion of North America time and time again. But their opponents, not from North America. We here with a Japanese team in the Global Gauntlet. We are on the world stage. And speaking of stages here, we have our strikes and selections. The first 2 strikes already coming in from FTWin, Umami Ruins, and Barnacle and Dime.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I could see potentially some reasons for not wanting to play on those. They can be really snowbally maps. We've got the first 2 strike stages also coming out from the Japanese side, and we are heading into Urchin Underpass as our randomly selected first stage.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like there were some very interesting strikes from the Japanese team as well. You know, I think we saw a Bluefin in there. I feel like that's not something you were going to expect FTWin to pick, but I like the idea that the Japanese team here in Swing are not focused on their opponents. They're focused on what is good for them as players. And yes, as we now are loading into this first game already, FTWin in the purple, Swing in the yellow. It's time to get the game going.
Oh, we've got some really aggressive weapons on both sides. I love that we have both Bursty and Reimaru using the dappled dualies. Both of them going to have those beacons to allow their teammates and themselves to get in super quickly. And also Tacticooler, a mainstay in Splatoon 3, very strong. We already have the blaster coming out. We've got the heavy, absolutely extremely meta anchor pick right now. And this is a stage that's really not known for seeing a lot of charger action, so it's not too surprising to see that heavy. But all of a sudden, while we had those first points coming on board for FTWin, everything is switching back over to Swing.
Yeah, Swing are able to swing the momentum in their favor, getting the zone, getting a nice push up here. Already the lead is going to swap into their favor into this first minute. A bit of a skirmish here. They do lose one player in Streamer Senna, but this zip is going to actually, never mind, is not going to cause any mayhem. It's actually going to give FTWin a chance to get in here with 3 down. They have the sodas. They now have the zone. They're in control, but still a little bit of pressure from Streamer Senna in the back will slow down FTWin, separate them here as they only have one player pushed up, forced to jump out, and this is not as good of a holdout as they wanted here with the push-in, but at least they're still in control.
Oh, and that ink vac coming out right now, allowing Senna to push in. Did go down there. The vac shot managing to get Kyo. Multiple people down over on FTWin. Swing calling in for help, saying, let's get that zone. We got to get it painted. We got to get the picks in. They're doing just that. Just managing to stay alive here. Momo doing everything they can against Bursty. Gonna go down in a trade there. This is neck and neck going back and forth.
Yeah, very close set so far. But again, FTWin still having this control, having this lead. They're not able to quite get as many points as they want because the pressure from the side of Swing is just enough to get that zone, apply that penalty. Again, these zips coming in are getting them more value than FTWin should be letting them get just out of zipping straight onto them. But once again, FTWin not letting go of this grasp they have in mid.
They are going to lose Reimaru on those Dapple Dualies for Swing, but multiple going down on FTWin as well. This has just been back and forth trade for trade, but so far FTWin does have the lead right now, and they are going to lose the possession of zone at this point. The vac shot, these vac shots have been so good. I have not seen vac used in zones as much in the Western competitive scene. It's been starting to get more popular now, I think, thanks to watching a lot of the Japanese players really make use of it. And just, wow, back and forth we're going here. The Blaster challenging Norishio here, and they're all alone going to get taken out yet again. It is going pick for pick, trade for trade here, but right now FTWin has momentum. They have a really strong hold here. If they can keep this going, they're through the penalty points. They could potentially bring this to a knockout.
And with only 20 ticks left, that knockout is very much reasonable. Once again, the zip coming in front of Norishio is going to be a distraction, but Bursty, not distracted at all, is waiting for the right time to move in and get behind Swing. The vac comes out from Momo to will cause enough of a distraction for the zone to get capped and flipped. That will be Swing keeping themselves in this game with just under a minute and a half left. Back in control of the map, but not out of dangerous waters yet. Kyo is here giving some jumps. The rest of FTWin are regrouping and haven't gotten pushed out yet. They have the chance here to get rid of Swing, get back this zone, and try for yet another lockout.
They have such a strong hold here that they can play pretty defensively. Streamer Senna, not able to get the pick there, was really just drawing so much attention to themselves, trying, I think, to buy some time for the rest of the team to get in. Breaking through this choke point is so difficult on Urchin Underpass. That is going to be another trade. Penalty points are nearly over for FTWin, but they've lost multiple people. They need to hold on to it for just a little bit longer, but that's another one down. And yet again, swinging it back, making sure that they have another chance. They're not down and out just yet.
Yeah, as long as the game is still going, there's always a chance for your team to take the lead. Now, you have to get a knockout here, but I'm sure Swing is no stranger to getting knockouts in zones. Now, already trying to force this fight onto the left side. There will be a trade. Momo versus the Blaster there in the corner. But right now, FTWin looking for a cap. They're just applying pressure to the zone, utilizing the heavy Splatling, which has been recently picked up by a lot of players for its high amount of paint output. But with no time left, this will be overtime. Swing need to keep this zone, but the strikes are coming in from Kyo, and the splashdown as well will be the nail in the coffin to just end that game in the nick of time. FTWin taking game one.
A really strong use of specials there at the end from FTWin to make sure that Swing could not get possession of the zone and hold on to it long enough to get down to a knockout in overtime. Oh my gosh. I really want to highlight that ink back, even though Swing didn't get the game win there. I saw it being used in really aggressive ways, like actually getting a surprising number of picks with the shot from the vacuum.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to echo that too, because the idea of bringing in the vac not to be, you know, like what we like to call a cheese special. It's not there to move a Rainmaker. It's not there to specifically prevent a checkpoint or move an objective, but they're using it to fight. They're using it as a way to rally the team together and move them forward to make sure to get those picks to clear an area. It's so much more versatile than a lot of the West likes to pretend it is.
Yeah, we do tend to mostly see it for Rainmaker and not so much splat zones here. Of course, we'll be having a whole lot of splat zones here moving in. So this does mean that FTWin gets to strike 2 stages. First one coming in is Scorch Gorge. I mean, I personally don't like playing on Scorch Gorge zones with that tower in the center is very difficult. And Manta Maria is a double zone map. So we'll have to see now. It is up to Swing to go with their whatever they choose for their counter pick.
And their counter pick is going to be Mincemeat Metalworks. This is what I was talking about earlier. The traditional stages that Western versus Japanese teams are going to be picking are very different. This is not the kind of map pick you expect to see from a team like FTWin, but Swing, on the other hand, this makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm wondering if anybody on either team is going to end up switching here. I see we've got Kyo, of course, still on that slosher. Actually, quite a change up over on Swing. We've got Momo using the tri-stringer with the chumps, and we also have Reimaru switching over to the Splash-O-Matic. Reimaru, I've mostly seen on Splash, plays a very, very aggressive support here, as you can see.
Yeah, and of course, on the side of FTWin, we do have Biscuit on the pencil, a very tried and true weapon for this player, and of course, Bursty now on the vanilla Splash-O-Matic. So we do have that Splash head-to-head, similar to last game where Reimaru and Bursty were both on the red Dapples, so they're keeping that mirror match going here in this set. And similar to the last set, we do see an early lead from FTWin, kind of getting pushed up, trying to apply some pressure, get some early points to give them a bit more breathing room as this game moves on. But yet again, these zips from Reimaru have been, sorry, not Reimaru, Norishio have been so annoying to deal with for FTWin.
Yeah, that is a special that is so high risk, high reward. I think it really shows off when people are able to make something really happen with it. Bursty is going to start using a really aggressive crab here. Start looking at the zone. There could be a lead swap here in the favor of Swing. That is going to swap over. Chumps are online, being deployed right now. A lot of paint going on zone at this point. FTWin is going to have to cap that back, but of course at this high level play, they got to do more than just cap that zone at this point. They want to make sure that they get some picks in, which will help them actually prolong a hold here. I want to highlight Senna has just been sharking over there, just trying to draw some attention, or perhaps just going, okay, I'm going to burst out when you least expect it. And FTWin needs to get that paint on the zone. They're able to, making sure that this game is not over until the counter's down to 0, which is such a classic in Splat zones. It ain't over until it's over.
We just saw that from game 1. We saw it go down to 1 point and then an almost lead swap in overtime. These games really can go either way. And right now what you need to do is you need to get these picks to establish your dominance on the map. FTWin are getting a couple of picks, applying a lot of pressure, but they're never able to get a full wipe onto Swing until just now, where they do manage to have most of this map. It didn't have the fancy wipeout text on screen, but they do get all 4 players down. And now this is the important part. How do they hold out? How do they plan to keep Swing from walking forward? Because these players are no strangers to just beelining in, just like here with this zip from Norishio is going to get behind 2 players at FTWin, pull some eyes, distract them, make sure that they can't keep painting that zone. The pressure is going to keep getting applied here as this lead is about to swap. All of Swing ready to paint the zone, but the specials at FTWin are trying to keep them away.
Oh, but that does swap back to Swing. Swing able to maintain their hold here. Still in the lead here. this is going to come down to really a strong hold from FTWin if they're able to succeed on this retake. Reimaru is getting pressured by Bursty and able to get that pick. They were completely outnumbered, still able to get it. Kyo trying to make something happen on his own at this point. It's going to have to go down in a trade, which is not exactly what they want. And not Sam going down there. But, you know, FTWin does have the control of the zone right now. They're going to have to hold it for a long time. Do you think they have a chance?
I mean, we've both said it a couple times now. There's always a chance. There's still over a minute left in this game. That's enough time to KO. There's plenty of time for FTWin to do work here, especially with Sam getting a double there in the corner. Will get picked off by Streamer Senna, but that's still a numbers advantage for FTWin, especially with Bursty here under Reimaru, making sure that crab is getting less value than they were hoping for. The penalty is gone. Only 5 ticks remaining until FTWin take the lead in this game, and not a whole heck of a lot of time after that, too. Only 10 ticks remaining until the KO happens. Swing with 3 down. It's just moment left alive. They have to walk in the zone by themselves and try to cap them out. But unfortunately, not enough paint in that numbers game. That will be yet another game going this way of FTWin.
Swing just lost a couple people there at the end. We saw Kyo, I think, throwing a bomb there, able to splat somebody with that. They, like you said, are up 2-0. And they must be feeling pretty good. They're going to get to strike 2 more stages. I feel like we always talk, Kyo is such a good, aggressive slosher. I wish I could play like that and arc the shots the way Kyo does.
And I think the whole roster of FTWin kind of has that aggression too, because you're talking about how aggressive Kyo is able to play, but looking over at Sam as well, being that frontliner, getting a lot of those kills, and like the KP percent there as well, getting a lot of participation in these kills. Of course, Biscuit here too is that able to be the backline, the anchor, the support that can bring all that together and enable those players to be as aggressive as they are.
I love always watching Sam and Kyo team up between Blaster and Slosher, get a lot of that AoE damage in. You followed up with the Burst Bomb over from the Splash-O-Matic, and it's just like, oh, Kyo slosh somebody, I'm gonna go throw the Burst Bomb at them. And Snipe Rider pairs into that beautifully as well, being able to, even if you only get 1 shot off, making sure that somebody else can follow it up. First stage strikes coming in right now from FTWin. Undertow is going to be the first one. And second one is Eeltail Alley. Again, not a stage that we tend to play in the West. There's just a lot of trash on that zone.
But speaking of stages we do play a lot in the West, Hagglefish Market Zones. This is the Splatoon 3 stage and mode combination. This is the classic here. Now, already loading into this game, I think this will be an interesting one, because I think, if anything, this is going to be the most comfortable FTWin should be on any of these stages. And when they're already up 2-0 in this set, that's a pretty good position to be in.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Swing selected this one. I'm sure they feel very confident on it, but it is, you know, in the West, we don't tend to practice all stages on Splat Zones. This is one that we play a lot of, and I have seen every member of FTWin clutch up on this stage and absolutely make some magic happen. Right now, Swing are the ones with the first points on zone, but they are starting to get pushed back right now. But except no, they're rushing Bursty, able to take out the entire team of FTWin. Swing proving us wrong, saying we are moving straight forward here. Very strong opening.
That is the scariest thing about this level of Splatoon, is the speed in which you can go from being in a great position, pushing the other team back, and having no danger, no worries, to oh, we all got splatted. We're all gone. And now we're getting spawn camped by Swing with 30 ticks remaining in this game. Only 1 minute in. Jumps coming back in. They are just staggering FTWin in their spawn. Last player alive is Bursty in this corner. Can do nothing. This might just be a straight 100-0 for Swing if FTWin don't rush in right now. It's just Momo left alive, but they can't get to the zone in time. That was a complete 180 from games 1 and 2.
Wow, Swing showing, okay, I know you all play this a lot, but this is a strong stage for us. That was a 100-0 single push that they had. Even when they went down a player came back in super quickly, and the rest of the players still up were able to absolutely keep FTWin from coming in. They didn't even really get to have a retake at all.
Yeah, and looking at these numbers, seeing Biscuit with 0-0-0, that just goes to prove how quick this game was. Just how there was nothing that FTWin was really able to come in and accomplish in this game. Swing just taking that game so quickly. And what I find really interesting here is that I was going to talk about how FTWin have almost an advantage having won so many games and being able to strike out a number of stages, so they can pick and choose where they don't want to play. But Swing brought FTWin where they want to play, and they still won that convincingly.
That's true. It is now going to be Swing who gets to strike 2 stages. I'll be interested to see if they're going to strike any of the stages that perhaps more of the Western teams tend to play more frequently on. They've only had the chance to strike 2 of them so far, so they're going to finally be able to add more. Humpback Pump Track being a first one, I could see reason for that being a lot of the AoE. And yeah, that Bluefin Depot, I don't know why we pick Bluefin Depot, but you know what? That just allows Robo ROM-en to come up, and I do think that is a strong pick for FTWin. They have a lot of great weapons to absolutely take advantage of attacking vertically. Of course, you've got the Slosher. You got likely a Blaster still. No, we've got a Stamper instead. And actually, Norishio is going to be the one over for Swing, swapping over to the S-Blast here. So actually, I think both teams here have very, very strong weapon comps here. We talked about that Ink Vac in the first game that was over in Swing's hands. But now it's FTWin using the Vac.
Yeah, and I love to see it, the versatility and being able to switch things up, being able to have alternate plans and ideas and not just sticking with the same weapons over and over again. Don't give your opponents time to react and adapt to what you've been bringing in these games. And now already we have Swing here on the blue side in control of the zone, eating away from that short little penalty that's been applied. It's been a skirmish here in this first 40 seconds, but ultimately Swing kind of getting a bit of space here, especially with a risky jump from Kyo that will let this momentum from Swing just carry on right into the snipe.
Senna's been so aggressive here. All of the members they're able to play off of each other very, very well. Reimaru, that crab's going to get shredded immediately. I saw that come out and I was like, no way that is going to stay alive here. Multiple members, both teams going down here. Momo is set up, being able to hold space here, but is going to have to give up on that with Bursty using an Ink Vac here. Norishio trying to challenge it. Senna also going to get taken down here. Swing's been in control of the zone so far. It's in a neutral and it's going back and forth in a tug of war that's going back into Swing's control. But every time I think it's going to swap back into FTWin's control, no, we're in single digits here. They just need to hold on to it for a little bit longer, and that is Swing taking another game.
That is such an interesting way for this to happen. We have FTWin make their map pick. They bring us to Robo ROM-en, a map that works very well with a lot of the weapons we traditionally see from FTWin. And they switched all of their weapons. We have seen Biscuit on the heavy splat lane earlier today, but overall, all 4 players playing a different weapon than the last match, and not a single switch from the side of Swing. And we still, once again, saw Swing just win this game relatively convincingly. The only points FTWin scored were in the first few seconds of the game.
Again, they just weren't able to retake at that point. I feel like FTWin in this match has done very, very well when they've been in the advantage. But if they're put on the back foot and they're forced to sort of scramble into a retake, it's been very, very difficult. It's just been like they're trying to break down this wall in front of them that Swing has built, and they're just struggling and throwing everything they have at it, but it's just not working. And now they were up 2 games, now it's tied 2-2.
And that's the scary momentum, the fear of being reverse swept, the fear of losing that safety net. And now going into this final game, FTWin have to rebuild that composure. Now Swing have struck Mahi, and they've now already we're getting our pick from FTWin, which is Wahoo Worlds,
right?
But so okay, like FTWin's picks have all made sense. They've all made sense to what I know about FTWin. This is out of left field for me, and maybe this is the plan. Maybe the goal is to catch Swing off guard as we're going into the final match of this set.
This is the one that decides the set for them. Both teams at their set point. Bursty still going to be using that ink vac here. We've got a fair amount of range over on the side of FTWin. I think perhaps to try to counter Senna's splat roller, Reimaru also has been super aggressive on that splash. And right now, going back and forth both sides. Momo already having a cooler online for the rest of Swing to take use of. Reimaru has been playing a very, very aggressive splash, as I mentioned, being able to poke a lot of areas and just moving so quickly. It's like all the members of Swing know where they want to be long before they're starting to move there.
Yeah, and already we're not even 40 seconds in, and the points keep on rolling for Swing. Even when FTWin can get a pick, it's never giving them a numbers advantage. Every time they find one of their own go down. Kyo being very aggressive here, getting in behind Momo and just trying to apply some pressure. But right now, nobody in FTWin is able to follow up on this, so it's just going to be an awkward skirmish that won't really gain much ground for FTWin. It does prevent Swing from pushing up, but if your team isn't able to follow up and take that ground, Swinger is going to take it anyway. Now only 30 ticks remaining, Rose. Are we just going to see 3 straight quick wins from Swing here?
We might, because we're getting close to single digits here, but there's going to be multiple members of Swing down. This is time for FTWin to cap that zone. Kyo's going to throw those strikes on. They're able to just barely get that zone in time. Swing was able to bring that down all the way to 5, but oh my gosh. Yet again, additional splats coming out. FTWin holding strong here, but they're going to have to hold for a really, really long time. The splashdown is going to end up in a trade, a very interesting trade. Momo already setting up the rest of Swing for that retake. It's really, in Splatoon 3, I think it really is all about the retakes and how you handle them.
Definitely, and I think a big issue for FTWin right now is we are seeing a lot of trades. He said we saw that weird little trade there, followed by both of the pencils trading out. FTWin need to find a consistent numbers advantage, but no matter what, if they get a pick, someone else goes down, or at worst, we're having players go down with no value at all, and so Swing, once again, is just back in control. We see them regrouping here, not overcommitting to this push. They know that they don't need to die for this. They're already in the lead. They have a good holdout. They just need to stall as much time as possible. The constant jump backs for Swing, they know where they need to be and when, and they're ready to get in those positions. The zone will get flipped, but once again, Swing, they're not too scared in this position here.
At this point, any trade is going to be benefiting Swing, unless there's some really, really important trade happening. Getting a pick on Norishio going to be really, really helpful, able to move in off of that. Hopefully, Kyo does see the jump coming in, but no, gets taken out before being able to finish it up because there are 2 members of Swing there. Norishio been doing a really good job of holding these angles here. That zone is in neutral. That is only going to benefit Swing at this point. They have such a strong lead with under 2 minutes to go. That is still plenty of time in Splatoon, but being at such a point disparity means that Swing can play aggressively but not overextend here, except Senna is going to go down from the blaster. We have another blaster pick coming out here and holding forward here. This could be changing things around for FTWin.
These are the moments we need. We need those picks to come through. We need FTWin set up in a position where they can predict Swing. They need to be sharking ready to go when Swing are going to walk in, because Swing, they're not afraid to rush in as this individual player. We've seen it time and time again from streamer Senna. They're willing to run in, get a pick, and jump out if they need to. And the vac from Bursty is going to help FTWin here in this position, saving that Booyah Bomb from going into the zone. The strikes from Kyo are going to try to keep this zone here because we're running out of ticks here, but unfortunately 2 players going down. Bursty is by themselves, and they will go down. FTWin not able to get the lead just yet and losing a couple players. We're looking like we might come down to the wire here, Rose.
Yeah, Raymaru was cleaning up there at the end. They just need to hold on at this point. Less than a minute left to go. Only half a minute left to go. But no, Swing's losing multiple players. Raymaru going down here. This means FTWin has absolutely a chance to take this back. They need to get paint on that zone. Bursty is unfortunately going to go down here. That's going to make sure that there is no vac here coming out at the end. Just a couple seconds left to go. That is going back and forth. Swing really wants to hold on to that, but they can't. The splashdown is going to take that away. They do not get a knockout. FTWin is going to try to force this into overtime, but Raymaru is trying to flip that back. Finally, now that ink back coming out from Bursty, holding back that paint from Swing. They need to keep holding this in overtime. They cannot lose possession of the zone. Is this going to happen, Hammy?
These are the scariest moments. The idea that you have to push up here and play aggressive, but if you're too aggressive, you'll throw it for your team. There needs to be a proper balance, and FTWin are balancing things as much as they can. They got through the penalty, only 10 ticks remaining, only 8 till they win. They're down 2 players. They have to outpaint this. It's just Bursty left alive. Bursty gets 1, but not enough to paint the zone and give time for the jumps. And moments from victory, moments from saving themselves in this best of 5. FTWin can't clutch it out. Swing with a reverse sweep over FTWin.
Swing swung it back their way. You cannot deny they held that strong. Getting such a good opening push really allowed them to play that aggressively but defensively at the same time. But FTWin nearly brought that back. It was really, really close at the end.
And speaking of FTWin, can we look at Biscuit with 31 kills, 75.6% kill participation? That is your enabler right there. That is one of the reasons that FTWin was able to try again to get back in the set to make those plays, but still, it just wasn't enough.
They tried really hard. And I think it really was when you have your blaster, the one who's alive. Sam got critical pick at the end, but there's only so much a blaster can do in terms of pain at the end. When there are multiple resources online for Swing at the end, they were able to make sure that as close as that was, as nail-biting as that was, they had the tools they needed to safely take that zone back when it mattered most.
Definitely. Now, I believe that's the entire set. That was so quick, but so long. We went the distance in that. There were so many quick games, so many long and close games. That was a roller coaster, to say the least. I guess it was like a swing, like a really aggressive swing. I'm trying to work the name in there. We'll workshop it and come back to you.
You're right. It was like the pendulum of the swing. It was going in one way, and then it went the other way.
Now, I believe that is our time here for Global Gauntlet Rewound. Again, FTWin versus Swing. Swing ultimately taking it 3-2 over FTWin in a game 5. Rose, thank you for joining me today. Feel free to plug yourself and shout yourself out.
You can find me at my socials down here. I am Rose of Battle everywhere. And how about you, Hammy?
I am Hammy in the wall. You can find me basically everywhere at that handle, or you can find me over here, hitw.inc. That is my blue sky, and just go to the URL and bring you right there. Yeah, thank you all for watching Global Gauntlet Rewound. We have more matches. Again, we're covering every match from Global Gauntlet, so you're going to want to make sure to catch up on all of those throughout the next period of time. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all next time.
Going nowhere, I swear. Like an outlaw on the run. fun. Running, running.